Okay, so let's start setting our vanilla chiffon cake. We've got the layer which we baked right here. It's nice and chilled now. We've got the vanilla patisserie cream. We've got some sugar syrup in here, and we've got some cutters. This set is brilliant because it gives me 19 different sizes, so I can just do whatever size I want up to 7-inch, from maybe like 4 inches up to 7-inch. For any size bigger than 7, I would recommend a collapsible spring, a collapsible ring, sorry, spring. There are also circles, like cut rings available on the professional range, made out of a sturdy metal, but they are more expensive, and obviously you get stuck with one size only. But with the price you pay for this professional range, you can get a set of stainless steel cutters, which are not very strong, but they are just perfect for what you need. So if I think about how big I want this cake to be like, I can just take the circles, the rings, and I just decide which size I'm going to go for, and I'll go for this, which I don't have a ruler handy. Let me just have a quick look if I can get a ruler. See exactly the size. So this is 6.5 inch. By the time it will be finished, if I'm coating, it's almost going to be a 7. The reason why I've picked a 6 and something is that I can practically make a 3-layer cake. So I've got already 2 layers on the side, and then I can go here and cut one part, and then just join this with another piece. Make the 3rd layer. So there is a possibility of actually making a 3-layer 7-inch cake if it's required. Now those leftovers would be used for a different project, which I'm going to show you when we finish. But for now, we'll just start building our cake using the 3 layers which we've got already cut. Now to build the cake, we are going to use a cake card. Now if you're planning to use this as your final board, there is no need for putting a cling film. You can start building the cake right in here. But if you want to build it in here, then transfer it into the final board, you can, you should wrap the board with a cling film. If you don't, the cake is pretty much likely going to get stuck onto your board. But if you put a cling film, then when you take your cake away, this will allow you to just peel off the cling film and just remove the cake without ruining the top. Okay, so I'm just going to build it upside down, and I'm going to set my scale to 0. I really want to know how much cream it goes in between the layers. I'm going to put the ring on, the same ring I've used for cutting. Now, if, for example, you are going to use a ganache kit frame, you can use a larger circle, like a larger ring, and then that's going to allow you to pour that ganache and just seal the cake. But for now, I'm just going to stick with something very plain. I've got some acetate paper, which I intend to use quite often to build the cakes, as I can get a straight edge without any hassle. That's going to go inside of the ring. I'm going to take my first layer of cake. That's going to go underneath. Now, if I want to scale to see how much sponge I've got and how much cream I've got in each layer, I can set the scale to 0 and obviously take some notes. That's going to be beneficial just to work out the cost of each cake. If you're planning to make cakes to sell them, then it's always good to know exactly what it goes inside. So I've got about 90 grams of sponge, and I'm going to drizzle some syrup. Again, the amount of sugar syrup. It will depend on preferences. So in my case was about 15 grams. I'm going to reset the scale to 0, and I'm going to put my patisserie cream, and I think if I put about 200 grams, that should be okay. But if you prefer to put more, this is a type of cream which people will never complain about having too much on their cake. So you can put, let's try and see how it's going to look like if you put 300 grams. Now, when you take your notes, you can say, okay, I want this cake to have 300 grams of cream in between the layers, and then you carry on with that proportion. If you want to put less cream, then you also have to adjust and then have a completely different price for that option. So just, you know, make yourself a few options if you're planning to sell those cakes. Again, reset to 0. Put the second layer. There is no rule to put it upside down, or yeah, I just want to make sure it just looks nice and tidy. I'm going to put it like here. Now, if for example you think, oh, but it might not turn up like perfectly layered, what you can do is you get a smaller piece of cake card. We actually have got in our bakery some little plastic stamps which we use, but you can just get a piece of cake card and then just make sure that you flatten the surfaces so the layers turn up looking nice. Then your syrup, then you rescale, and then you know now you have to put 300 grams. Okay, and again just spread, so you don't have to worry too much about how it's going to look like. You will turn up leveled when you use your little cake card to flatten. Okay, so that's 300 grams. Now I've got my last layer, which will go again upside down. Get my stamp. And put the drizzle. And my cake is now done. Now if I want to double check the total amount. Oops. My scale seems to not behaving. Just maybe running out of battery. Come on. Okay. It doesn't allow me, but I will just get another scale and I will check the quantity. Just to make sure that I know exactly. But if you can see there, so we had 900 grams on one layer. We'll just say along with the syrup is 100 grams. So we've got 300 grams worth of sponge, and we've got 2 layers of 300 grams each worth of cream. So that makes 900 grams in total. Now, by the time you will set this cake, you will end up with 1 kilogram of cake. So if you pour a little bit more cream just to cover the base, and then when you take the cake, when you transfer the cake on the other board, or if you keep it on this board, when you decorate, you can add another 100 grams of something, and then you get 1 kilogram worth of cake. That should be enough for about 10 people if they just eat like desserts. If they just eat the cake like food, then even one cake might not be enough for one person. But as a slice of a dessert, 100 grams of dessert is just enough. So as I said, you can either wait till this cake gets chilled, maybe just place it in the freezer for a quicker set and then just flip it upside down, or you can just finish the cake right here, put a little bit more cream on the top, like 100 grams, and then put some sprinkles, put some fruits, or do whatever, and then you get your cake ready. You can still use the plastic the acetate strip on the side so that the cake will get a bit more firm. No one makes a cake and eats the cake immediately, so you can just leave it in the fridge and then just take away the plastic if, or the time comes and you want to serve the cake, or you can just take it and then just coat the sides of the cake as well as the cake.